Hello, my name is Ed Pinkham. I'm the secondary coach here at Rutgers University, and today we're going to talk about just a few drills that we would incorporate into a 4-day mini camp. I'm going to start off with our stance, and one of the things we do, we're going to talk about a corner's perspective of stance. Primarily, when we look at it, we want to put ourselves in the best position from which to come forward. With that being said, we're always aware, whether we're playing 3-deep coverage or whether we're playing off man, that upon recognition of a 3-step, we got to be able to come forward towards the line of scrimmage. And with that in mind, we try to assume a stance that is going to put us in the best position to do that. Our stance starts with our feet. We usually will align in the corner position with our outside foot up. Our toes are in a toe-to-heel, toe-to-instep relationship. Our knees are just flexed. I want to eliminate a lot of knee bend. In other words, I want to keep my tail up in the air. The width of my stance is usually just about 2 or 3 inches apart. My chest is out. If they dropped a guillotine through my chest, it would come from my chest and hit my toes. In other words, the majority of my body weight is focused over the tops of my toes. My shoulders are tilted slightly just for vision from that corner position. With my tail up, I try to play with as flat a back as I can. We're going to take a look here as we go with an explanation. My tail is up. You can see the flex in my knee is minimal. We're trying to get our toes out over, our chest out over our toes, and you can see the stagger is just slight. Toe to heel, toe to instep. And as we progress here, we're right here now, as we look at this, we're giving an example here of a little bit too much bend in our knee. We really don't want to pronounce bend in our knee. What we would prefer is, as we get down and assume our stance, our back would be as flat or parallel to the line of scrimmage. Our knees are just slightly bent. And as I said earlier, our shoulders are turned just a little bit for vision to the quarterback. Here we have just a little bit too much stagger. If we were in a perfect world, our feet would be toe to heel or toe to instep. And again, we're talking about getting somewhat flat in our back. The next issue that we want to address is every day when we start off with our back pedal, we try to assume the perfect stance. When we're playing off man or perhaps 3-deep zone coverage, we want to assume an alignment approximately 8 yards from the line of scrimmage. This should give us enough time to read whether it's a 3-step or not, and still keep vertical leverage on the ball. So in our progression in our back pedal, before we get into our back pedal, we want to explain to our corners, our defensive backs, that at the snap of the ball, we want to reach with our back foot and with a tempo of approximately 60% of our maximum effort. In other words, we're just giving ourselves some backward movement, but we're not trying to get burst off the ball. We're under control with our chest over our toes. When we do these drills, we're going to start every drill with a slow get off and then pick up the pace. We're going to talk about backpedaling, and we want to emphasize 3 issues with our back pedal. We want to talk about, as we backpedal, keeping a narrow base, so we use the white stripes on the football field. In these drills, you'll see we're going to do all the drills where the defensive back starts on the line. He is going to reach with his back foot first, and then backpedaling. Keep in mind 3 coaching points, that being backpedal with a narrow base. In other words, not a lot of space between your thighs. I use the expression at times, keep an eye in your thigh, meaning keep your thighs close together. The second coaching point is keep your hips high. By keeping your hips high, we try to keep our chest out over our toes. And then the third point is just a normal relaxed arm swing. We're going to now address the drills that we use in backpedaling and defensive back movements with every practice. We will incorporate this into every single practice session. And what we're going to do is really focus in on the movements that are very specific to defensive back play. In the drills that we're going to see right here, we have started off by backpedaling out to the hash, and in this case, we're talking about the first movement being our hip snap. We want to be able to move as a defensive back in straight lines, eliminating any rounded motion, therefore wasted movement and distance towards our objective. On this drill, you can see we're going down the line of scrimmage. We are turning, snapping our hip over. The coaching points being, don't vary from the white stripe. Let's snap our hip over and stay right on the white stripe as we get back to the sideline from where we started. The next this drill is we're going to come off the sideline, and now one of the things about defensive backs is we start away from the line of scrimmage, and we have to break and drive. The ability to change direction from coming away from the line to that in which we're attacking the line of scrimmage is fundamental for a defensive back. We're going to do a drill now where we focus on coming back to the line of scrimmage in 3 different angles, but we will do this from a position where our hips are going to initially be, we're going to start off on our back pedal, but initially turn our hips so that they are perpendicular to the line of scrimmage. To do this drill, we will all turn in one direction, predetermined. I may say to them, all right, we'll start the drill turning towards the scoreboard, and after we do a progression of 45 degrees, 90 degrees, and then 130, we will flip it around and turn in the opposite direction and do the drill with a break of 45 degrees, 90, and 130. You can see here, we're turning, break, drive. Our upfield foot is our break foot, break, drive, and then we're going to break at a 45-degree angle to the next line. Again, we want to get our foot down. Our deep foot is our break foot. Our drive foot, it's essential we get that on the ground, pound it into the ground, and with that third step, our break foot comes over the top and we accelerate toward our target. In this particular case, it's at a 45-degree angle. We'll now, with this drill, we break, we're just finishing up the first 45-degree angle. We'll now break straight back at the line of scrimmage. Turn, break, drive. They're listening to my commands. Turn, break, and back at the line of scrimmage. All right? Turn, break, and back at the line of scrimmage. And now we're going to go 135. Break and drive, and we're going to come off on an angle 135 degrees. Break, drive, and the other way. And as we study the movements of a defensive back, I believe it was from a Tony Dungy article where he describes the basic movements of a defensive back, trying to accomplish straight line movements, eliminating rounded approaches. These 3 movements here are the ones in which you're going to have your hips turned and you're going to attack the line of scrimmage at a 45-degree angle, a 90-degree angle, and then a 135. As you can see with the drill now, we are flipping our hips where, from our perspective, we initially flipped our hips to the right. Now we're going to do that same progression where we flip our hips to the left, and we're going to do the same drill. Break foot, drive foot. The first is to do it at a 45-degree angle that you can see the drill here now. Break, drive. There we go at 45 degrees. Break, drive. All right? We tell them, turn, break, drive. They're listening to my commands. Turn, break, drive. That's 90 degrees now, straight back the line of scrimmage. Turn, break, drive. And the entire group goes through. We usually try to do it at a 3-to-1 work to rest ratio, in that we usually get lines about 3 deep, and that gives them enough rest between each repetition. And here we're going to finish with a 135. Break, drive, turn. That snaps their hips. Break, their deep foot breaks. Then their drive foot pounds into the ground, and then cross over at the angle. The next sequence of these drills is going to be where you can see we want to keep our hips, instead of turning our hips so that they're perpendicular to the line of scrimmage, in this drill sequence, our hips are parallel to the line of scrimmage. This comes into play oftentimes we're in a two-deep safety position where our hips are parallel to the line of scrimmage and we got a break on the thrown ball. It may also occur when we are playing a three-step and the receiver has not pushed our hips open, and so they are still parallel to the line of scrimmage, and we teach our body how to break with our hips parallel to the line, as opposed to the initial drills we just went through. They were perpendicular to the line. And you can see the way we run this drill is I have them do it twice in the same direction, and then when they're all done going in that direction, we'll repeat the drill in the opposite direction. And again, it's break and drive, break, break. And they're going twice to their right, break, break. They work into the back pedal after they hit the next line. Break, break, and here they come back again. At that 45-degree angle, they're coming break and drive, break and drive. Sometimes people refer to it as a T-step. And we'll finish up. Now, with this drill progression, we have covered basically the fundamental skills of a corner and a safety. There's a few other drills, backpedaling on an angle, in other words, a weave backpedal, that you can also incorporate as part of this drill, as part of this sideline sequence. Thanks. Next, we're going to go into how we limit long plays. We talk about it as part of a trap the mouse teaching progression. All right, the next thing is, how do we keep leverage on a ball carrier? In this drill, the ball, we've put two lines 15 yards apart, and we've had a ball carrier attack is in between the 15 yards. You can see we're on the 10-yard line and on the 25-yard line with our defenders, and the ball carrier is right in between them on the 17 and a half. You can do it on any 15-yard area. And what we're trying to do is teach our defensive backs how to keep leverage on the ball. You'll see the way we rotate, we'll rotate in a circle. The blockers go to the back of the line. On the next, as we rotate clockwise, the blockers will go to the back of the line. The defensive backs will step up and they become the blockers, and then the ball carrier goes to the back of the line on the other side. And what we're trying to teach them to do is take an angle to the ball so you keep leverage on the ball carrier, attack the blocker, lock out, and then disengage, keep leverage, keep the ball between you. We call this trap the mouse. Throw violently, throw the blocker. Don't just disengage the blocker by relaxing your arms, but throw the blocker. One of the things we have to do as a defense is eliminate long plays, and the skill to attack the stalk blockers, downfield blockers, create separations with our elbows locked, our thumbs up and our elbows in, and then funnel the ball in the direction that we want the ball to go, and then violently cross-face by throwing the blocker in the opposite direction. This teaches us how to keep the ball between us, and we're going to progress to the next drill where we actually incorporate the post player along with a corner and show how we eliminate long plays. We call this drill trap the mouse with a blocker. All right, now here is an example of how we do the drill, same kind of drill, where we throw in a ball carrier. The corners are the ball carriers and they play corner. The safeties are the blockers and the safety. And you can see now the safety is working as though he's going to be a post player in a 3-deep structure, coverage-wise. Could be safety-free coverage or 3-deep zone. And here he comes. Here comes the ball carrier to the perimeter. The corner is a 3-deep or a man coverage defender. All right, now he locks out. You can see him lock out. We talk about from our tackling progression how the post player is now going to burn the hip of the ball carrier, establishing inside-out leverage. He's going to come to balance, and then the defensive back, the corner, is going to violently throw the blocker, and those two have the responsibility of keeping the ball between them. And you can see from the screen, we rotate the safety, who's the post player, becomes the blocker. The blocker, safety, goes to the back of the safety line, and the corners, they just rotate between tailback and wide receiver. And it's important, as that post player attacks the ball, that he, when we say come to balance, never stop your feet, always pressing the ball carrier's hip. But as we do it, we want to come to balance. In other words, we have to physically, for a human being, we have to downshift by shortening our stride and lowering our center of gravity by bending our knees and getting a little bit wider base so we can change direction. So as we come to balance, we're shortening our stride, dropping our tail. We keep our face up, our shoulders back, but we approach the ball carrier with leverage, inside out, forcing him to go the direction we want him to go, shortening our stride, dropping our tail, and getting a little width with our feet. And we'll do this drill both to the left and then also to the right. All right, now, this next drill. This is a drill where we just break down our cover two, and we call it a cover two half-line drill, where we get the corner and the safety. And the whole idea about cover two, from an offensive standpoint, they always want to attack the corner. In other words, they want to give a high-low stretch to the corner in cover two. They're going to put a threat underneath them and a threat behind them. And this drill teaches our safety just to play it where he's reading the quarterback's eyes. It teaches the corner how to play deep to short. The first high-low is where they run the short set-down route of the wide receiver and the 7 route of the inside receiver. And you can see our corner has to expand and come off of that. So they're basically, and here's another example, they're going to high-low. They're going to run a streak, or excuse me, in this particular case, they're running a 7 route from the outside receiver. He's going to run in and then out, and they're going to try to occupy the corner in the flat with a shallow route. And that corner has to come off and be able to play deep to short. He can't just jump down. And you can see we use the expression, show your hip to the quarterback, expand at a 60-degree angle. And you can see the corner in that case is expanding, showing his hip right there again. This is the third. If you drew these 3 routes up and just repped these 3 routes, these are the 3 favorite routes of offenses versus a 2-deep corner and safety. There's the first one we saw before. All right, there's 2 verticals where the safety has to make sure he's eyeballing the quarterback. Here it is again. We're stretching the quarterback. You can see the corner carries. There's no threat in the flat for him to play short, so he's kind of low shoulder on that vertical route. And then our last drill sequence, it refers to man-to-man skills. In one of the things we do with our press man-to-man is we work a drill here where our focus, if your cornerback in playing man-to-man has his vision high on the shoulders, he's not going to be clued in to the receiver being ready to break. All receivers, all humans, to be able to change direction, need to shorten their stride and sink their hips. And that's what we're looking for. When we get into level 2, that being once the receiver passes that 5-yard area from the line of scrimmage, our focus is on his hip. And we do this drill where we mirror his hip sinking and his feet chopping. And then you can see he runs a route. And we'll get him and we'll go in both directions and finish up with the receiver running whatever route he wants to read. But this just disciplines the corner into reading the receiver's hip sinking and then running the route whichever way he needs to go. Chop, chop, chop. See your feet, mirror him, And then the last drill I want to talk about is just a simple catch-up drill. Whether you're playing off man or whether you're playing press man or whether you're a third technique, there's going to be times where the receiver gets out ahead of us. And one of the things that we train our guys to do with this drill, we talk about it as being wrist, lean, locate. When that receiver is ahead of us and we start the drill with the receiver getting about a yard, 2-yard head start on the defensive back. And this is at a period where we talk about it being in level 3. In other words, it's off the line of scrimmage. They've run through the 10 to 15-yard area where they might run curl, out, what have you, and now they're into their fade, and we find ourselves in a trail position. To recover from this, what we want to do is we want to slap at his wrist, not put our hand across his whole body, but slap at his wrist. In this case, we're prying ourselves up even, and once we can get our shoulder to be on him, we then snap our head back and locate the football. And we, as the coach, we just throw the fade out there. The receiver doesn't play the ball in this drill. The defensive back does. Wrist, lean. When you can lean, you can't locate the ball. In other words, you can't look for the ball unless you can lean. So it's wrist, lean, locate, and we'll all go in one direction, and then the coaches will come down the other end of the field, and you can see we'll do the same drill. Wrist, lean, locate. Wrist, lean, and only when you can lean do you snap your head back. You become the receiver, boxing out the intended receiver with your body and playing the ball yourself as the wide receiver. I hope this has been of some value to you. I appreciate the opportunity to visit with you. And if you do have any questions, I'm here at Rutgers University, and you can get a hold of me here at the office. Thank you.
My name is Chris Hewitt, cornerback coach of the Rutgers University. For one of the things that I want to talk to you about is ball disruption. One of the major components of a defense is to create takeaways. As a defense, you want to try to drill that in any specific way that you can. And the 3 ways that we drill that is second man in strip, chase strip, and sack fumble. The first drill I'll be talking to you about is called second man in strip. The way this drill is set up is simply is to have a guy set up as the ball carrier and another guy as a tackler, okay? And all you have to do is just set the ball carrier up, holding the ball, and then have a tackler in a position to make the tackle. You're going to put him in a position to bite the football and then have him just step in, wrap the ball carrier up. And then the second guy is going to go in with the hands going towards the football, pulling the fingers off the front part of the football and the other hand on the other part of the football, and then torquing the ball and then pulling it out in a violent motion. As you see here, he's pulling the ball out and then bend, scooping and scoring, okay? It's not a real good illustration there of the guy finishing the drill. Okay, here we go again. He's in the fit position, to bite the ball position, wrap the ball carrier up, grabbing cloth, pulling the fingers off, scoop and score. Good job finishing. That's important to always finish your drills. Okay, here we go again. In the position to bite the football, wrapping him up, pull the ball out, scoop and score. And when we have your guys going to scoop and score, the important thing is to have your guys put their knuckles on the ground, not in a rush. Don't hurry. Securing the ball, scooping and scoring. Here's another shot of it. As you see here, our linebackers, he's in the position to fit up, grabbing cloth, running in, pulling the balls out, scoop and score, finish the drill. The next drill that we do is called chase strip. And this is a drill that you will use when you have a guy who's chasing the running back or wide receiver or whoever is carrying the football, and you're in a position where the ball is exposed and you can strip the football from behind. Okay? The way the drill is set up is simply you as the coach just flip the ball to the ball carrier and have the guy who is the tackler chasing, and then from behind you want him to simultaneously, as you see here, pulling the ball out, wrapping the ball carrier up simultaneously, and then pulling the ball out. It's not really a good job here of the illustration. Let me go to another slide. Okay, this is a better look of it here. What you want to do is simultaneously come across, overhand, pull the ball out. Same thing. What you want to try to do is try to get the front part of the ball and pulling the fingers off and pull the ball out. Coaching point here is you want to try to simultaneously secure the football, secure the tackle, and stripping at the ball at the same time. Because what running backs will do, as soon as running backs or whoever is carrying the ball, as soon as they feel any kind of pressure, they'll try to tuck the football away, tighten up. So you want to simultaneously grab and pull at the ball at the same time. That right there is called overhand strip. The other way that you want to try to do it is to punch from underneath. And all you want to do is when the ball is exposed from behind is to run in and punch the ball out from behind. Third drill that we use is called sack fumble. And all you want to do is just have a guy stand there as mimicking as the quarterback and holding the ball up in a position where he's about to throw the football. You want your guys to come off of the edge, and as the ball is held up in a position, you want him to come off the edge. He cannot see you. So what you want to do is to secure the tackle or the sack as well, secure the sack, and then in a violent motion, tomahawk the ball down, and then go strip the football. Here we go using our safeties as they tomahawk the ball down and secure the tackle. What you want to try to do is to pin the arm down and then drive the quarterback down into the ground. This drill is done in two different angles. First is coming in from behind, and the second is in a face-up position. What you want to do is the guys come in is to mirror the throwing the hand. As you see here, our guy's running in, and he's mirroring the throwing hand with his left arm as the quarterback is throwing with his right arm. He's using his left hand to mirror the throwing hand and then violently coming down, pinning the arm, and bringing the quarterback down. I think as a defense, if you rotate those three drills, and that's the best way for you to try to illustrate to your players and have them have a trained behavior for it to become instinct every time that they go out there, is to try to create turnovers. If you rotate those three drills, about 2.5 minutes in between each one of them, rotating those three drills, second man in strip, chase strip, and sack fumble, I think that you'll see that your defense will become better at creating turnovers.